or private property. These categories were registered in the official Turkish land register, tapu, while other Miri land could be de facto the private property of high-ranking Ottomans and or influential Syrian businessmen, in spite of the name, of the category, I mean. So, evolution of land administration in Syria. In 1858, the Ottoman Land Code introduced general registration, but was only limited at limited sites. Registration of title and survey was carried out on a large part of the cultivated land in Syria and also in Iraq, hastening the disintegration of communal forms of land tenure, which was called musha', and communal rights. 1930, the law of immovable property, number 3339, laid down the principles of procedures for cadastral survey and registration. Owners who received registered title were still Miri holders, which means that nominally tenants of the state, but in practice they owned the land absolutely without any intervention of the authorities, which was quite far away geographically. 1943, about 3.5 million hectares had been surveyed and registered, hastening the disintegration of communal forms of land tenure musha', which we had mentioned a little bit earlier, and communal rights. However, the register system soon failed with ongoing hostilities. 1979, 40% of the agricultural land was registered with clear title given, and joint possession ended in terms of tribal possession. Badia land are both protected by law as state property and usually unregistered. Now, the issue of water, of course, is vital for this area. And it happens that in this area, there is a very important source of water, that is the Euphrates River, which is in the northeastern part of Syria. Locations usually were for establishing communities in the Syrian steppe were chosen according to the availability of water resources and proximity to markets. In the second half of the 19th century, the way to define a home base was for a tribe or family to appropriate what is called a Roman well or a cistern. The well or cistern was claimed by the ones who discovered and rehabilitated it. Community boundaries were drawn.
3 minutes يا دكتور. أنا 3 minutes. مع حضرتك 3 دقائق. أيوة بعد إذن حضرتك.
Okay, so let us skip this one. So the Euphrates Valley issue is an exception in the northeastern Syria. It's a major source of water for the country. It was decided to build a strategic dam, the Tabqa Dam, with the support of the USSR in the 70s. One of the aims was to extend irrigation to an additional 100,000, but according to some sources, the extra land that was fit for agriculture reached 1 million hectares. So, I mean, this is, of course, a very strategic point for the region. So this is the map of the newly irrigated areas. We can see that on the Euphrates. Sorry, I can't show it to you. Oh. Yeah, this is the Euphrates River. So the Tabqa Dam has been hit by, Syria has been hit by a long period of drought between 2005 and 2010. The absence of an efficient water distribution infrastructure and the lack of agricultural practices adapted to arid areas have contributed, according to many authors, to the explosion of violence of the Syrian war, because probably of a very important migration from rural areas to the cities. So in addition to that, the military airport, which is close to the dam, was conquered by ISIS, but the dam was not damaged. currently, the dam is under the control of Syrian democratic forces, which are mainly Kurdish. Yeah, so mass migration to urban areas, as I told you. For instance, in 1981, Aleppo had a population of less than 1 million inhabitants, but it became home to more than 3 million in 2010. And the same situation has happened in Homs, and this has created a lot of problems and social tensions, and probably has ignited or contributed to the ignition of the civil war. Now, one was a few things related to the soil degradation indicator in Syria that was computed by ICARDA in 2006. We can see that there is the problem of soil degradation is a very serious one for all the Syrian territory. And this is something that we will have, well, that the Syrians will have to tackle very soon, very early. The impact of conflict on agriculture is that agriculture remains a key part of the economy, but the sector still accounts for an estimated 26% of gross domestic product, and represents a critical safety net for this around 7 million people who still remain in rural areas. Just for your information, it's not on my presentation, but we have some Iraqi gentlemen who are with us in this meeting, not in this room, but in the meeting, and they were telling me that the main source of agricultural products for Iraq is Syria today. So, in spite of the war and difficulties related to that, and this is an important thing. ما هو تقريبا خلصت شوية بس. So there is a problem, a very serious problem concerning oil industry that has been totally uncontrolled, and that has been a major problem for the environment in these areas during the civil war. Okay. Last slide. The last slide. This is the problem of the location of unexploded ordnance on the Syrian territory, which means that wherever you step, you have a problem. You might have a mine or something like that, which is, of course, a very big danger for all the populations. So you have pollution with oil, you have these unexploded ordnance, etc. And you have also the populations who are under, probably more than 90% of the Syrians live below the level of poverty. So I think this is my presentation. I could have said a lot more, but I mean, you've had enough, and I thank you for your attention.
شكرا سيد خوري رفيق خوري.
Thank you, Mr. Khoury Rabeh, for this great presentation that the evolution of land management in Syria. And during the Q&A, if there are some points that were not covered, you can go ahead. But you covered a very important topic about food security in Iraq, who relies on Syria. So thank you. And now we move to Dr. Fawaz. And we would like to hear about the same experience from Urdun. And its impact on food security and water. And if you can cover the important topics on this land.
ممكن العرض التقديمي للأردن.
اوكي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نشكر طبعا.
So, in name of God Almighty, thank you to the Kingdom of Morocco. So the topic I will be covering today is the experience of Jordani that is unique and we'll see the season. So this is very complex. So this is a very complex problem that causes a lot of conflicts, either amongst people or between the tribes and the government. Why is it complicated? It's complicated because of the law complex. So we have two types of laws. We have private law and public law. So we will see what are the solutions we can use to solve this problem. So this is a topic that's very lengthy, and I try to summarize as much as I could. So to get started, I would like to talk about Jordan. It is at the heart of the Arab countries. It is a kingdom. It has a constitution. So the 89 square kilometers. It has a border with 5 countries and another border with Egypt, which is a sea border. Jordani is divided into 12 regions. Amman is the capital, and the number of inhabitants as of 2023 is 11 million. So everyone knows the importance of land for people, and it's because of this reason that we have conflicts. The land is the livelihood of people. They live out of it. So first we talk about terminology. We do have the land, then we do have privatization. So it means when it's not selling, but because government land is not for sale, so we can either privatize, but we can even transfer the ownership, but we don't sell it. And the assets of the government are those that are registered. So you cannot say it is a governmental land unless it is registered, and that's what causes a problem. So a lot of people think that the land, if it's not registered, it still belongs to the government. In Morocco, they say tahfid al-aqari, which is registration. So either it is registered to the citizen or it is registered to the government. And then we do have some land that can be registered by customs, but cannot be. And then we do have land for cattle as well. And so we used in the past the law of 1856 from the Ottoman Empire, and we used it in Jordani until 2019. So in that past law, we used to have 2 other types of land. So in the past, the governor could give land to any citizen for unlimited time. So that's what this land was. And then there is another type of land. If the owner dies, it goes back to the government. So there is the right of ownership. It is the right of ownership of land, which gives you all the rights for that land. And then there is the legal protection, and it is the same in all countries. And we have it's protected by the Constitution. Then overall, how can we own land, or what are the reasons? So these are the reasons: either you sell amicably, or you sell through court, or you inherit, or what is it? In the past, if you stay too long in land, it belongs to you. But today, no matter how long you stay in that land, it's not yours. So the types of ownership: there is a private ownership, open ownership, shared ownership. So private ownership is people. So open ownership, it means it belongs to the government. It is owned by the government, but anyone can use it. And then there is shared ownership. For shared ownership, it could be a land, and you have 30 or 40 owners in that land. Or it could be real estate, and it can also be shared ownership for real estate. So I talked about the law, so you know the context. So now what's specific about the rural land? So there is a custom use. It can be for agriculture, for cattle, and it is also linked to the cultural heritage. And this has still an impact from the colonies, and in the past, the tribes used to go from one region to another region, but today, and thanks to the different changes, it is different, and there are also conflicts. So what we are talking about has two approaches. There is the land approach. So we ask them to own the land. So there is the right of the tribes to own the land. In Jordan, we don't have a tribal land. So there are two topics. There are two types of conflicts, and even legally, they don't differentiate between those conflicts. So we do have initially some regions that are outside the limits of the tribes for the use. So the country came and said to solve the conflict that each one can use those lands that don't belong to anyone. Then there are lands inside the tribe limits, and this can be registered in favor of the tribe. So what is the reason for this issue? There is a need for land, a need for development. There is also the increased prices. So then there are two opinions that can be used. So some people say that we need land for the development of the society, and we have then to see how to solve the problem. So the previous law the law
وبعد فترة معينة يقوم بتسجيل هذه العقارات لهم. للأسف صارت في استغلالات كثيرة، وصار القوي يستقوي على الضعيف ويأخذ أرضه، فانتهى هذا الموضوع وبطل في ما يسمى بالمقاسم العشائرية. هلا زي ما حكينا قبل فترة، قبل يمكن بال 2004 2007 صارت عدة مطالبات برضو بالوجهات العشائرية، وزي ما حكينا الأصل إنه ما يطالبوا بوجهات عشائرية، يطالبوا بالأراضي القبلية.
So is it the tribal?
لبعض القبائل محفوظة بذات الأراضي، كان عدة نزاعات ومشاكل على هذه الأراضي، والدولة عملت هذه.
The country made some agreements in order to put an end to the conflicts about land. What are the recommendations to fix those problems and strengthen the rights of those tribes and local communities? International cooperation to protect the rights of tribes and communities, legislations, reforms regarding legislations in order, especially the legislations that are outdated, employment opportunities for the tribes, and also the consolidation of communication channels between stakeholders. This is a wide subject, and if you have any opinions or additions, you are welcome. Thank you, Dr. Fawaz. This was very enriching, and it is the same problem in all the Arab countries. This is not just, it's not just Jordan. There are so many things in the recommendations we can learn from your experiment and this experience. If there are any questions or comments, I'm going to move to Dr. Elena. She's an expert in water. As we said at the beginning of this session, in the Arab world there are problems regarding water and water scarcity and the effects of climate change on water scarcity and the accessibility of people to water resources. Each year it is decreasing. Dr. Elena made some researches about the alternatives regarding the management of water resources and what are the solutions we might use in this regard. You have
research, especially when it comes to innovative solutions with regards to the water.
Thank you very much. And I really want to thank you for this opportunity that has been given to the University of Florence for presenting the project that I am leading, funded by the Prima Foundation, Section 2, that is AGWAMED. There is also one representative of the partners, Dr. Mohamed Wesser, and also Giulio Castelli is with me from University of Florence. So actually we prepared this presentation showing also two other projects that has been funded by the same, in the same call, 2021, because there is a common line that is connecting these three projects, and these are the use of non-conventional water in agriculture. So these three projects are AGWAMED, Agrimar, and AgriMed. Is it? And as I said, the common line is the use of non-conventional water. So what is non-conventional water? Non-conventional waters is a very wide umbrella that comprehends a lot of different water of different sources and in particular of different quality. So they can be the outcome of some processes. They can be treated in a different way before being used, or they are coming, for example, as a collection of rainfall or runoff. So all the water harvesting systems are belonging to non-conventional water. So here we find some examples: desalinated seawater, rainfall runoff water, captured by water harvesting systems, wastewater, or agricultural water drainage. These are the three projects that we are briefly talking about. So AGWAMED, I am leading. I'm the leader, so advancing non-conventional water management for innovative climate-resilient water governance in the Mediterranean area. Agrimar, adaptive agreements on benefits sharing for managed aquifer recharge in the Mediterranean region. And AgriMed, innovative aquifers governance for resilient water management and sustainable ecosystem in stressed Mediterranean agricultural areas. So we can see here the partners that are participating in the three different projects. As you can see, we have partners from the northern Mediterranean and from the south Mediterranean. So, for example, for AGWAMED, we have Italy, Spain, Tunisia, Egypt, Greece, Algeria, and the Netherlands. So the AGWAMED and also the others are relying on testing some technologies in demo sites or living labs. For example, for AGWAMED, 4 different living labs has been established, one in Italy, in the Val d'Orcia, one in the Segura River Basin in Spain. Tunisia and Algeria is a transboundary watershed, so the Wadi El Kabir, and in Egypt we have the Wadi Nagamish. For the other, we have AgriMed, Jordan, Morocco, and Tunisia. And for Agrimar, regional demo sites, that means very wide areas where the project is applied, and the TICs in particular, Portugal, Spain, Cyprus, and Tunisia. So going to the detail in AGWAMED, we can we can see here which are the techniques that has been focused on, and in particular in Italy, in the Val d'Orcia, we had the problem of in the vineyards that due to climate change, rainfall is not anymore enough, so they switched to supplemental irrigation, but the problem was getting water from. So they started to use small agricultural reservoirs that were in some cases already existent, in some others they created new ones, but the problem is also the possibility of having them filled at the time you need, and also the problem of reduction in water availability due to sedimentation. So these are subjects that has been discussed also through the use of models, hydrological models within the watershed, within the living lab. In Spain, they used for the district that is quite large, the conjunction of wastewater coming from water coming from wastewater treatment plants and also desalination. in Tunisia and Algeria, in the transboundary, medium-sized water harvesting structures are used because of collection of water for supporting rain-fed farming like olives and almond. And these structures are flood diversion and managed aquifer recharge. And in Egypt, also desalination and cistern. For the others, I'm not going into too much details because time is running very fast. So for the Agrimar, they tested the managed aquifer recharge in 4 different countries, and they realized a feasibility mapping of the managed aquifer recharge in all sites at regional scale, but also at much more smaller scale where the models has been tested and validated with much punctual data. So this Agrimar is mainly on the utilization of the technique of managed aquifer recharge. And in Agrimed, they tested in Jordan the possibility of applying some techniques for environmental conservation, in particular fighting land degradation. Then in Morocco, more related with water, so efficient irrigation, water resources, additional sources, so new sources, and also the assessment of water quality very much with the nitrates. And in Tunisia, they experiment the equipments, so in particular decision support tool for water saving, more in particular in irrigation. The common line was the participatory approach. So in the 3 projects, actually the involvement of the stakeholders has been applied since the beginning. So a group of stakeholders were meeting for discussing and applying the concept of co-design, the future and the future choices that would have been tested. So here we see the examples in Italy, and in particular we had 4 different meetings with the stakeholders, as I said, but this was not only relying on these 4 times, because there is always ongoing contact with the stakeholders that are representatives for public sector, private, and also private sector as farmers, in particular vineyard. The same for the Agrimar. In the regional demo site, they apply the co-creation for the governance and multi-actor approach for the engagement of the stakeholders. And in Agrimed also they went through education and training activities and the workshop at the demo site. So actually, what we wanted to point the attention on was that both the 3 projects, we could say that they found the same problems in developing the project, and they come up to results or conclusions that are really very similar. Because the first one is related with the stakeholder involvement. So this project that are obviously applied research, they are for sure centered on the stakeholders. So the approach that should be applied is not for sure bottom-up, but top-down, but it's bottom-up. So the involvement of the stakeholders should start from the beginning, but the beginning is not the first day of the project, but is when we are writing the project. So sometimes is an effort that is not arriving to the result because maybe the project is not financed, but we think that it is the only way for really establishing the network for the future users and the future those that are going to be involved. Then the second point is that the technology is present, is ongoing. We don't have to invent anything, but the problem is that the application of this technology. So and also here we need to train, we need to get farmers, in this case, used to use the technology. And also another aspect is trust them. Let them trust in the technology, because very often they are a little bit distant from these things. Land degradation and water sustainability nexus. We should switch to non-conventional water, because, as has been already said, the water is not enough, and it will be not enough in the next future. So we should find the way of make or apply additional water resources. Another aspect is the importance of social and economic sustainability of what we are proposing. Otherwise, nobody will get involved when the project is going to be finished. And the important thing is the combination of the non-conventional water resources and managed aquifer recharge. So there are examples of using non-conventional water for recharging the aquifers, because if you are waiting rainfall for recharging the aquifer, obviously it will be too late. So we need to increase the amount of water that is going to be, let's say, infiltrated on the soil for increasing the water, the groundwater recharge. And last point is just for saying that we really appreciate the possibility of getting in network with these other projects, because we are thinking that working together is the best solution, because we are working on the same subject. So sharing experiences is fundamental, because we don't want to start from scratch every time. So we will do in the next months, before the end of the year, some other joint action. For example, one, it will be at AGU, and also the final conference will be made jointly. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Elena. طبعا الموارد الغير تقليدية للمياه من أهم المناطق اللي أعتقد محتاجين نزود الأبحاث فيها، ومتفقة معاها جدا. يعني هي ذكرت كلمتين، إن التشاور ما بين كافة الجهات المفروض ما يبدأش.
Our work should not be at the start of, at the beginning of projects, but it should start before the project, and also the trust building aspect, which is very essential to the success of any project. And thank you for your presentation. Now we're going to move to Dr. Hassan. You represent the Berlin group and a specialist in planning in Egypt, and you have experience in multiple Arab countries. We want to hear from you when it comes to green spaces and within cities, how we increase urbanization and planning within cities. And also about greenery and green spaces. You have 10 minutes, please. I'm going to use Arabic. Good morning, welcome everyone. Today I'm going to talk about different examples on which we worked with the Arab Institute of in the Arab Institute of Arab Urban Development. The second
العامة في المدن العربية. طبعا هستخدم كلمة فراغات أو مساحات أو فضاءات لأن دي برضو بتختلف.
In cities, models are different from a city to city. For example, in the West and the East, there are two different models are used. In the East, for example, we base our models on space. In the Arab region, there are urban and architectural challenges that are related to land, which is the topic of this conference. And we try to bring together space and land. Conditions are different from a city and a country to another due to economic conditions or conflicts as well. The principal characteristics can be a preparation for urbanization. The challenges are climate challenges, and the priority should be given to small-scale planning and neighborhoods, and also the cost of preparation. The relation between land and public space, any project needs land. The discussion we have now, we talk about the ownership of land. We need space and also to know to whom this space belongs in order to manage it properly. The development needs and the specificities of the place on which we work and the needs of the society. The management of land and green spaces, the question is how can we deal with public spaces so it would have a role in food security and climate change in Arab cities. If we take a look to the public space, there are two essential types: urban farming, which is and also the essential green spaces. These two elements, the green cities, where we need management of spaces and lands in this case, it is very essential to the sustainability of cities. I'm going to try to be quick. If we start by the process of public space governance, it is based on our knowledge and definition to different stakeholders and the power dynamics between them. This is very important. The most important part here is maintenance and the management of public spaces, and the fear in cooperation with the private sector, because the government might be afraid that the private space might use those public spaces without incorporating the society and the community. If we mention the role of public space, there are two roles. The first one is the question of food, and also the heat waves that we have in different Arab cities. Those green spaces are very essential to the reduction of temperatures and airflow. Trees also help with the oxygen production and the decrease of CO2 in air. For example, in Beirut, these are some informal unplanned places in Egypt. There is no space, apparently, and this is a project of greening in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh. At the very beginning, I was not clear, but in Arab cities, conditions are different due to economic elements and conflicts. There are some initiatives in the Arab Council countries due to the difficult climate conditions. Greenery improves the quality of life in those places. This is a project in Dubai that has to do with urban agriculture. For those interventions, there are different levels. On the city level, as in Riyadh or in Cairo, the Al-Azhar garden, where there was an intervention, and this greenery affects the whole city. This is in Doha, in Qatar, a garden. This is on the neighborhood level in Doha as well, in the Al-Ma'mura garden. This is in Amman, the Housing Bank garden, where the intervention on the neighborhood level was in cooperation with the bank. The bank financed the project and also the maintenance. The participatory neighborhood greening needs different regulations, such as the involvement of or the community engagement, and also small-scale interventions on the neighborhood scale. These are some examples of the approach. It does allow us to deal with each case according to its conditions. The first thing is we have to have a long-term planning between different partners and use different examples. This is the relationship between food and public space. If we talk on different levels of development, there is a social development in the improvement of climate, the strengthening of the relationships between the people, and the idea of dealing with different users and their needs, especially the marginalized people such as women and also refugees and migrants. This depends on the idea that we bring together all those people targeted in different ways. I'm going to show you some examples, but there are time constraints. The Arab Urban Development Institute, we have something we call the Institute of Urban Innovation, which is collective or participatory collective greening. This project's duration is 4 years. It is one of the different activities of the Institute. The interventions in the project, at first we were trying to see and look where the gap and the need is. As you see, this is a picture where this type of images are existing in different Arab cities where green spaces are absent. And another aspect is the limitation of green green spaces are limited, and this is a matter that decision makers should tackle. As you see here, these are images from Cairo. There is increase in population density. and also there is no social equality. There are huge projects, but also slums. Through this project, the idea was for us to work on the neighborhood level, which are residential spaces. There are two types of interventions. We work on offering green spaces and then some small spaces which we call tactical interventions. Some green spaces, small green spaces in different places. The city we chose was Tunis and in Tunisia, and then Amman, and then Port Said in Egypt. The project is the duration of the project is 4 years. The idea is based on dealing with all the actors involved and decision makers, and also the people that would benefit from this project. Also, these are the main partners, the Arab Fund for Economic and Social Development, and also the Arab Urban Development Institute, and other experts from different Arab countries. And each one adds value based on his experience and background. The idea of having the university in partnership with the municipality is trying to bring together practice and academic knowledge. We are always trying via scientific research and education to find ways to provide a win-win situations where students can do research and gain, and also municipalities and local administrations would get new ideas from those students. We have here 3 work packages. And the first one is the large green space, which and also small-scale interventions within the same neighborhood. So the greening would be seen, and we can feel the change. Those greening projects in the Arab countries, we have different reports. All those reports are related to participatory greening. Greening, it does not only mean green spaces, but it's a whole concept. So when we say here green, it means sustainability, and then energy, and then and also energy saving. The second package is small-scale interventions, and then the third is the knowledge transfer. We are working currently on reports, and something I forgot to mention is that there is an educational platform called the MOOC, which allows practitioners and municipalities to take different courses online, and we are preparing for this, and also training courses done by specialists in different cities. In Tunis next week with different municipalities and administrations of participatory greening. We are working with them in this regard. This is a workshop in Tunis in last October, a group of students, local and international ones, in participation with the local municipality and different professors. This is a meeting with the municipality. This is the analysis of the students. The idea of doing analysis and what the place in needs. The second project is with the University of Berlin and also different partners. This is similar to this one is similar to the second project, but there are differences in financing. I'm going to show you some pictures. This was a visit in Tunisia. We bring together each workshop and then we go to a certain country. And also these are works done by the students. This was in Irbid in Jordan. I'm going to put an end to my presentation here. Thank you for your attention.
جدا يا دكتور حسن. يمكن كمان حابة أقول لحضرتك إن بالنسبة لنا في مدينة زي الرباط أنا الحقيقة كنت سعيدة جدا بوجود المساحات الخضراء، وهي طبعا نموذج رائع لمدينة عربية بتتمتع بمساحات خضراء واسعة، وهي زي ما حضرتك قلت هي مش بس مهمة للتغيرات المناخية والطاقة والأمن الغذائي وغيره، بس كمان للراحة النفسية. فأنا لقيت صراحة يعني حتى المواطنين هنا أعصابهم مرتاحة، على عكس مدن ممكن تكون زحمة وتبقى يعني فيها ضغط نفسي عالي لما بيكون بدون مساحات خضراء. فهي الحقيقة بتأثر كمان الجانب النفسي هام جدا اللي بنسميها الويل بينج بتاعت البشر. يعني عايزة اتنقل دكتور رائد، بنختم مع حضرتك، ويعني حابة أسمع من حضرتك التجربة على إشراك المجتمع المدني والتحالفات وتأثير دوت على سياسات وصنع القرار. فحابة حضرتك تكلمنا عن الموضوع ده. اتفضل يا دكتور.
مساء الخير. اول شيء دائما اخر واحد يمكن بكون الناس مالين، ان شاء الله حاول نكون خفيفين عليكم ونقدم ماده جيده وتكون خفيفه على الجميع. بدايه بعرف نفسي انا من التحالف الوطني للارض في الاردن، راح نحكي عنه لاحقا، بس احب انه قبل ما نتحدث عن دور المجتمعات المدنية في تعزيز وتعديل القوانين والتشريعات المتعلقة بالأراضي، بحب إنه أحكي شغلة. ما بعرف إذا حدا فيكم بيعرف إنه علماء الآثار اكتشفوا في الأردن أقدم رغيف خبز بالعالم، عمره يمكن 1,000,000 سنة أو زي هيك. طبعا هاي المعلومة بتعطيني شغلة، إنه زمان كانوا عندهم استخدامات مثلث، كانوا مشاركين بصنع قرارهم وغذائهم، فبالتالي انه كانوا عارفين انه لما يساهموا بصنع القرار بيكونوا بيعملوا استقرار سياسي واقتصادي واجتماعي. طبعا احنا راح نتحدث عن دور التحالفات الوطنيه، بس قبل ما اتحدث عن التحالفات الوطنيه بدي احكي انه رغيف الخبز اللي اكتشفوه بيعطينا انه قديش كانوا كثير بيامنوا انه لما كلهم يجتمعوا على صنع القرار السياسي والتشريعي انه هاي الاراضي إلنا واحنا بنساهم بزراعتها وهي امنا زي ما بنحكي دائما، بنكون احنا قادرين على انه نساهم.
لحظه، هو في مشكله في الترجمه؟ ممكن الترجمه ايه الاخبار؟ الترجمه مش شغاله. اوكي.
Okay. I talked about okay, they discovered in Jordan that bread was in Jordan, and it is not on Oman, but it was in the desert in the east of Jordan. And imagine in that period there were green spaces, and they were planting, and they were making decision in order to had an impact on the nature of life and the space of Levant. It is considered as a basket for food in Jordan. And we were working in order for food security, and this was a national coalition, and we were talking together and working together. As a matter of consequence, we came here in order to organize the national coalition, in order to organize and we were decision makers at that moment. And we are a state. Jordan is considered one of the countries that we can find a lot of sources. We receive refugees, and it is very important. And if we talk about the surface of Jordan, more than 90 kilometers per square, but 99% is considered as a desert. And I think that I discussed with a lot of colleagues and said in 2008 just 1 million, but now there are many millions. And in 2023 more than 11 millions. You can see that there are a lot of we use a lot of resources. As an example, for if we can find and we are talking about the usage that is not considered as idealistic. The rules in Jordan, we have a lot of legal rules, but had an impact on using these resources. For example, if we talk about the law of agriculture, okay, we can see that there is another philosophy in these laws, and in the region of Amman, because of these laws. Of course, if we look at the uses of the agricultural land in Jordan, okay, we can see that are distributed in such way. I'm talking about an important about the regions that are not that cannot be planted. It is called Badia, and it is considered as a desert. But if we use water, it will be a green space. But what is from which place we can find water? And this is considered as a great challenge for how to use lands. If we want to use these lands that are desert, is a challenge. Of course, our colleagues talked about a lot of challenges, and also there is a conflict about the places that include forests. Just 1%, and there is a conflict. And also the land of camps. When the Palestinians come back to their home, we will, of course, even these camps, we can find a lot of conflicts. And also we have a problem of the governance of lands. So we have a lot of laws, but as a matter of consequence, there is a problem of how to use these lands. Of course, there is a law which govern how to use lands for urbanization. Of course, we have a plan. It is just to organize the city, but the environmental issue is out of consideration. Of course, we have a lot of crises, especially in the time of COVID-19. There is climate change, and we are trying to find solution, but these efforts have not taken into consideration the local people who can be involved and who can use their lands. So, as a matter of consequence, we try to make a coalition, national coalition. We come back and we try to make a lot of national coalition, and we develop a strategy that can have an impact on national policies. And we try to set up a committee, and after we discovered that we have similar goals and similar issues, and we found that there is a common ground that we can use. Of course, we're trying to be pride as a national coalition that consists of a lot of institutions, and we try to make an internal regulation, and we started. Please, can you make a summary in order to have questions? Our aim is to put pressure on the stakeholders, and we have principles that are related to human being who is considered as a center point for any change. And we tried to gather, to assemble them, and the laws that are related to lands, and integrating civil society. And there is an important point that I want, and the mechanism. It is the mechanism how we are working.
We are working together with the government in order to create channels of communication. We always hold discussions with people and try to help them and find suitable solutions with decision makers. This is why we open channels of communication with the Jordanian Parliament and sit with the Committee of Agriculture and Water and try to change some legislations. 4 weeks ago, there were some reforms regarding the use of land. There was talk with the Minister of Agriculture in this regard, and also there is coordination with international organizations. The UN Habitat was the latest one. They were the first. They gave us the opportunity to give to the workers in the national coalition some added experience. And they're also helping us with the data, which is in itself a strength for the government. The people who work on site would provide information that would help decision makers. When you I want to thank you, Dr. Raed. We don't have much time, so we will have to be concise. We will have additional discussions. It is very important to involve communities in decision making, and your role is very important. And we in the UN Habitat, we believe in the participatory approach and involving communities in decision making and all the steps of decision making. Thank you. I know that time is over, but can we please take a question or two? If anyone asks me about the loaf of bread, I'm going to answer later. Can we take 2 questions, please? If there is any comment, we can communicate with each other after the discussion. Because we need to empty the room for the next discussion. Can we take 1 question? My name is Sarbaz Ahmed Omar, an agricultural from Kurdistan of Iraq. Can we use roof gardening as a step to adapt to climate changes and also the harvesting of water? This is my question. I want to add something. I concluded with something from your talk, which is that our problem is regional agriculture. It is the essence of development and national security, and also food security and environmental diversity. Is there any question? So we can give 1 full answer to the 2 questions. Thank you. In fact, all the topics were interesting. We would like to have more time with you in order to discuss these important and enriching topics about ownership and all these details. These are very important things. We must learn these things if we want to work in land rights. For the doctor, you mentioned a point that one of the challenges is the high cost of greening. If we compare it with spaces within neighborhoods, which is made of cement, these are of high cost, but they are being used more than green spaces. This is all I have. There is another question.
interventions. I took note of the question of knowledge transfer when working on greening cities, and I was interested in understanding to which, so you said that you've been publishing throughout the project and disseminating the information, and I would be interested in how you made choices of what to produce and also for which audiences it was produced. Thank you.
تفضل دكتور حسن.
طيب
First and foremost, for roof gardening, it is not enough. It's just one way of interventions that might reduce heat waves and also increase environmental resilience and sustainability. And also it can help in food security. It can reduce the cost on families. So instead of buying something from the market, they can just grow something from themselves. If they do a study, if we do a study, there are some places in the Arab world where this is successful. For the cost question of greening in itself can be of high cost when it comes to the maintenance, because the maintenance is the problem. That is why in some cities they use plastic instead of planting. Plastics is not sustainable and it harms the environment, but it's forced on us sometimes. There is a report which are benchmarkings in topics regarding greening, where we try to analyze international experiences and try to make it adapted to the Arab world. The people in charge are local administrations. The second question has to do with the projects in the Arab cities. There are 60 projects. We do an analysis to the projects. You can find it in the portal. In some cities we have reports. In a place in Tunisia, we are preparing a report about this place. It is going to be published in both English and Arabic. Thank you, Dr. Hassan. Thanks to the audience for bearing with us. There is one note I want to add, a comment about a map I had in my presentation. The mistake, if there is a mistake in the borders of any country, this is just a mistake. We respect everyone and we respect the United Nations, and I worked on a report on the state of Arab cities with the UN, and we really paid attention to the borders, so to respect the international borders in any publication. And I am sorry if there is any mistake. Thank you for your clarification, Dr. Hassan. Thanks to the audience. Thanks to the panelists for being with us. And I want to thank the organizers because they gave us additional time to help us be here with you and to do our best. And thank you again.